friends, myself Nitin Karkar. I am going to be the faculty in charge for your subject electrical circuit analysis. Now the scheme of examination for this particular subject is as follows. There is going to be first internal test with a weightage of 20 marks that will be conducted after approximately 40% coverage of the syllabus. First internal test will be followed by second internal test again of 20 marks that will be followed by approximately 80% coverage of your syllabus. At the end of the semester you will be facing an end semester examination of 3 hours duration and 80 marks as the weightage. For this particular subject there is no term work, no practical, as well as there is no oral examination. So in all you have to appear, or the total weightage of this particular subject in your entire semester will be of 100 marks. This particular subject, it is a little bit extension of what concepts that you have studied in your previous semester subject, that is BEE. In BEE you have been made little bit familiar with the concept of circuit analysis, different theorems you have studied, different network simplification techniques also you have studied. Till now in BEE you were dealing with only two type of sources, either it may be a constant voltage source or it may be a constant current source. Also there was no part involved as far as AC circuit analysis is considered. However, in this particular subject we are also going to cover the AC circuit analysis. I have already shared a PPT on my Google Classroom. I hope almost all of you have downloaded it. So just go through that PPT, which is related to the basic concept and the basic terminology that is used as far as electrical circuit analysis is considered. Once again here I will try to reveal all those concepts in brief, and then we will start with your actual syllabus. Now at the beginning I am going to consider the very simple numericals with which you are already familiar, just to make you comfortable with the scope of this subject. So till now you have studied only two type of sources. As I told you, the first type of source, that is called as voltage source, and the another type of source, that is a current source. Now any electrical circuit ideally should consist of any one of these two sources and some energy utilizing elements like a resistor, which is denoted by the symbol capital R with its unit as ohm. If it is an AC circuit, you might have observed an inductor, which is denoted by the symbol capital L with its unit as Henry, and a capacitor denoted by the letter capital C and unit of measurement is farad. You also might have studied the concept of inductive and capacitive reactances. So as far as this electrical circuit analysis subject is considered, we are going to see different type of combination of either one of these elements or a combination of 1, 2 or all the three elements. Now essentially any electrical circuit should ideally consist of the energy source, which might be your voltage source or a current source, and a combination of all these three elements or any one of them. So at the beginning we are going to consider the classification of sources. Right now I will only focus on the basic classification of sources, and then when we will start analysis of an AC circuit, at that time once again I will tell you how to tackle with the circuits containing AC sources. So as you can see over here, there is a voltage source or there might be a current source. Now this voltage source, it can be of two types again. The voltage source may be independent voltage source, or it may be a dependent voltage source. Similarly, your current source may either be an independent current source or it may be a dependent current source. In BEE, you have studied and analyzed the circuits consisting of either a dependent voltage source, either an independent voltage source or an independent current source. But in this particular subject, we have to tackle with the circuits consisting of dependent as well as independent voltage as well as the current sources. So let us see what do we mean by an independent source first. So the independent sources, they are classified as either independent voltage source or an independent current source. An independent voltage or an independent current source is a source whose magnitude is not dependent upon the current or voltage through or across any of the circuit element. So such kind of source, it is called as an independent source. However, either the voltage or the current source may be time varying in nature, and therefore symbolically, if I want to represent an independent voltage source, then if it is a DC source, it may be represented by a symbol of a battery. You might have observed such kind of symbol in BEE, and if that voltage source, it is time varying in nature, then it is denoted by such kind of symbol. The magnitude of any of these two sources, if it is independent of voltage across any of the element or current through any of the element, then it is called as an independent voltage source. Similarly, an independent current source may be a DC current source or it may be a time varying current source. The symbol for an independent current source, it may be like this, which is normally used to denote a DC circuit current, or if it is a time varying current, then it is denoted somewhat like this. So these are the two symbols of independent current sources. Once again I repeat, a source is said to be independent if its magnitude is not dependent upon voltage across or current through any of the circuit element. Then such kind of source, it is called as an independent voltage or independent current source. The next category of the sources is dependent sources. So now we will see what do you mean by dependent sources and what are the different types of dependent sources. So please give the next title. Dependent source. So similar to independent sources, the dependent sources are also of two types. Either it may be a dependent voltage source or it may be a dependent current source. As it is going to be a dependent source, the voltage magnitude or the current magnitude of any one of these two sources is going to be dependent upon voltage across or current through any of the circuit element. So such kind of sources are called as dependent sources. Now these dependent sources are again further classified. So if the magnitude of the voltage or if the magnitude of the voltage source is dependent upon voltage across any of the another element, then it is called as voltage dependent voltage source, abbreviated as VDVS. Or if the magnitude of the dependent voltage source is dependent upon current through any of the element, then it is called as a current dependent voltage source. Similarly, again there are going to be two types of current sources. If the magnitude of the current source is dependent upon voltage across any of the element, then it is called as voltage dependent current source, VDCS. And if the magnitude of the current source is dependent upon current through any of the element, then it is called as current dependent current source. So once again, I just go through all these things. Two type of sources are normally available in electrical circuit. It may be a dependent voltage source or a dependent current source, or it may be an independent voltage source or an independent current source. Dependent sources, depending upon the parameter on which their magnitude depends, they are further classified as voltage dependent voltage source, current dependent voltage source, or it may be voltage dependent current source or current dependent current source. So let us see how symbolically we can represent the dependent voltage sources and the dependent current sources. So the symbolic representation for dependent voltage source I will draw. On the left hand side and on the right hand side I will represent the dependent current sources. So if the magnitude of the voltage source is dependent upon voltage across any of the element, then as it is a voltage source, it will be obviously have a positive terminal and a negative terminal. So the polarities are important and they are represented with plus and minus sign. So if you observe any such kind of source present anywhere in your circuit, and if the magnitude of this voltage source, it is given as some x times V, that means the magnitude of this particular voltage source is going to be dependent upon the voltage present somewhere in your circuit, then this is called as voltage dependent voltage source. And at the same time, if the magnitude of the source is dependent upon current through any of the element present anywhere in your circuit, then it is called as a current dependent voltage source. Similarly, for current sources, if the magnitude of the current source, it is some x times V, where V is the voltage across any element present anywhere in your circuit, then this is called as voltage dependent current source. And if the magnitude of the current is dependent upon current through any of the element present anywhere in your circuit, then it is called as a current dependent current source. So this is about the classification of voltage and current sources. In electrical circuit analysis, we are going to solve the numerical consisting of either independent voltage and or current sources, or dependent voltage and or current sources. So it is going to be an extension of the concepts that we have studied in BW. At the same time, we are going to carry out the circuit analysis using all the theorems and all the simplification techniques that we have already studied. So with this much information about the voltage sources, once again I will just revise how we are going to analyze, or what kind of technique we are going to use to analyze a circuit. Now let us consider a simple resistor of magnitude R with two terminals denoted as A and B. Now we already know the current always flows from higher potential to lower potential. So right now if I consider terminal X as positive and terminal A with a positive polarity and terminal B with a negative polarity, then current will flow from A to B, that is from left to right. If I am tracing this circuit in the direction of current, then there is going to be a fall in potential. So the voltage drop across this resistor, it is going to be denoted by the symbol IR. As I am moving from A to B, there is going to be fall in potential, and then I will denote that potential voltage drop but with negative sign, that is it will be minus IR. If I am moving through the same resistor, in this particular direction of my current. So as you can see over here, now I am moving from negative terminal to positive terminal, and therefore the magnitude of the voltage drop will be denoted by the symbol plus IR, as there is going to be rise in potential as I will move from terminal B to terminal A, that is from negative potential terminal to positive potential terminal. So while doing the analysis of the circuits involved here onwards, you need to memorize or you need to keep in your mind these two particular things. Now the very basic theorems or the very basic technique that is used to analyze a circuit, it is either Kirchhoff's voltage law or Kirchhoff's current law. So in Kirchhoff's voltage law, the statement for KVL is, in any closed loop, the summation of the potential or the voltage drops across the closed loop is always zero. So what I mean by this is, let us consider a simple circuit consisting of two resistors, namely R1 and R2, and these two resistors, they are connected in series with a voltage source. The circuit is going to look somewhat like this. If I assume the magnitude of the voltage source at some V volt, the current flowing through this particular circuit as some I amperes, then according to KVL, I will write down the equation as, now I am going to move in the direction of this particular current. So plus sign will be over here, minus sign will be over here. Same will be the case for the second resistor R2. So if I want to analyze this circuit by KVL, then the expression that I will get upon application of KVL will be written as V minus I into R1, which is the potential drop across this particular resistor. As I am moving from positive terminal to negative terminal, there is going to be drop in potential, and therefore I have put the sign as negative. Minus I into R2, that is going to be equal to 0, or I can write down this equation as V is equal to IR1 plus IR2, or simply I into R1 plus R2. So all these three equations are mathematically correct as well as they are electrically also correct. So such kind of technique or such kind of rule we are going to use to analyze our circuits. For KCL, the statement is, at a particular junction, let us say this is a junction at which various currents they are meeting, that means various branches have been connected. So as an example, I will consider these two currents as the incoming currents at this particular junction, whereas these two currents as the outgoing currents. So according to the statement of KCL, at a particular junction, the summation of incoming currents, which I can write down here as I1 plus I2, is equal to the summation of the outgoing current. So it will be I3 plus I4. The same statement I can mention in another way as, at a particular junction, summation of all the currents is always equal to 0. So same expression I can also write down in this particular format. I1 plus I2 minus I3 minus I4 is equal to 0. So you can write down the equation by KCL either in this format, wherein you have to club all the incoming currents together, and then that addition you have to equate it with the addition of all the outgoing currents, or you can write down the same expression in this particular format. So this is about the Kirchhoff's voltage law and Kirchhoff's current law. As I told you earlier, what are the theorems or what are the techniques that you have studied in BEE, same theorems here also we are going to study, but the circuits will be consisting of dependent sources also. So let us start with very simple examples at beginning, and then as we proceed further we will start considering different complicated circuits. Okay, so let us see how we can analyze and how we can determine the current magnitude in this particular example. So this is the circuit given in which we have to determine the magnitudes of currents I1, I2 and I3. Okay, so please copy down this numerical so that we can proceed further with our remaining part of the analysis. So we have to analyze this circuit by making use of Kirchhoff's voltage law, or that is sometimes also called as mesh analysis. Okay. So if you have copied down this particular part of the circuit, let us try to see how can we write down the equations for all the three loops in which currents I1, I2 and I3 are flowing by making use of KVL. Okay. So for the first loop, I can write down the equation as n, which is the magnitude of the voltage source, minus I1 minus 3 into I1 minus I2 minus 6 into I1 minus I3 is equal to 0. So here I would like to tell you one basic or one simple rule that will be helpful for us for the further analysis, that whichever loop you are going to analyze, consider that particular loop current as dominant as compared to the other loop currents. Meaning is, right now I am writing down the expression for my loop number 1. So the current that is flowing in loop number 1 is current I1. And therefore, this particular magnitude of my current I am going to assume to be higher than the remaining two loop currents. And therefore, here I have written the current as I1 minus I2 for a resistor of 3 ohm, and here for a resistor of 6 ohm I have written the expression as I1 minus I3. So same equation I can write it down in this particular fashion. So 10 will be equal to 10 I1. You can simplify this mathematical expression, minus 3I2 minus 6I3, and I will call this as equation number 1. So if I apply KVL to the first loop in the given circuit, I am going to get this equation. For the second loop, if you observe, we are going to move from